You are in a matatu, you see a conductor gets out of the bus, he bribes a police, or he gives a conductor, you are sitting next to the driver. Tell me what you have done is wrong. And sometimes you don't know this kind of, you don't know what kind of person I have. I may make you run into trouble with this man. So go and stop. So Miriam, this is what it means, national ethos. That it is our responsibility to assist our government, to avail all the information. You always hear Miriam, Daniel talk about China. In China, your brother is a policeman. You know very well he has not inherited. You see him having this property, having this kind of... It is your responsibility, Miriam, to go and report this to your brother. And it happens. You go and report to your brother. I think our parents did not give this one, and I know the salary of this one, but this person is getting this. That is what it means, Miriam. And now we are going to the basics of telling people now, Miriam, that don't always ask for the government what can do. What can we do for the government? Working at being law-abiding citizens, Miriam, that's how we can be able to take the government forward. Like now, Miriam, what we are trying to do, we are educating Kenyans. It is our civil duty to tell Kenyans what's expected out of them. You see very well, Miriam, what we are trying to do in national ethos now. The BBI is there. The propaganda is going out there. Like I listened. It's going to be the second part, Miriam, on the senator for Kakamega. He says he supports BBI. These special sheets which are going to come, it is going to go into some other region. Imagine that's a senator, a national leader, thinking just like that, and that I'm not comfortable with that. And Miriam, we are saying we cannot have a member of parliament representing 300 people, and there is another one representing 10, representing 20. Miriam, we should be human. And if we can be able to have those national ethos to know our responsibility, then you can say then that one Daniel deserves.
All right, very well. And I see Javan Karanja has already joined the conversation from the UK. Javan, good morning. All right, I think as we wait for Javan to unmute there. Javan, good morning.
Good morning.
So today we are looking at a BBI, point by point, the report that was given to us, the short version, they call it the abridged. We're not reading from our own notes here. I'm reading from the abridged report of the steering committee of the implementation of the Building Bridges to a United Kenya Task Force report. And this abridged version, that is also known as a shortened version, was made available to the public, I think, Monday last week. And we've just been looking at the first point there. And we promised you that we shall be making it, breaking it down for us and really understanding, what really is in the BBI away from the noise that we hear from the political class, because we have a responsibility to bring you the information as it is. And so the first part, Javan, I know you joined while the conversation had already started, is the national ethos and responsibility. And part of that says that we have placed too much emphasis on what the nation can do for each of us, our rights, and given almost no attention to what we each must do for our nation and responsibilities. So this goes to speak about our patriotism, because if you love your country, and I'm a very patriotic person, me and you as a Kenyan, we can argue about what is happening in this country and that's it. But an outsider, you cannot tell me nothing about my country. I don't want to hear it, especially if you're coming and you're very critical. Like the Kenyan in me will be like, no, you have no right. Leave my country alone. That is, I know. But we've seen the lack of patriotism in this country, even making at some point, a few years ago, of course, right now it's under control, terrorism, because through some Kenyans here, they worked in cahoots with even terrorists and these very, dangerous groups from outside the country to come in and harm Kenyans here. Because if these Kenyans were patriotic, and they love their country and they love their fellow countrymen, you wouldn't do that. But it is the lack of patriotism that we even saw terrorism starting to gain ground in this country. Of course, right now it is under control. So Javen, why is it important for us as a people? If you're watching me, you're from Gambia, as we've seen one of our viewers there, or you're from South Sudan, or you're from Nigeria, any country, part of the world, especially here in Africa, because that is one of the things that really plagues us. We are not patriotic. We don't love our country enough. So why is patriotism very, very important for an individual?
Yeah, thank you, Miriam. And I agree that as a country, we lack something that defines us as a nation. And that is why we have this BBI that tries much to bring that responsibility of a Kenyan citizen, a responsibility of a patriot Kenya, so that we start feeling the need to love our nation. We start feeling the need to be proud to be Kenyans, and think that is a way of defining our nation. We have a country that have, when you go to these nations, other developed nations, they have something that pulls them together. And I think what the BBI is trying to do is to look for that thing that will unite us as a nation. And when we are united, then we can now have that spirit of patriotism, because I will stop seeing that friend of mine from Kisumu as a Luo. I'll start seeing him as a Kenyan citizen. I'll stop seeing that guy from Uasin Gishu as a Kalenjin, and I'll start seeing him as my fellow Kenyan. And that is what we are talking about. And when we were in school, there was something we read about patriotism, and there was kind of a characteristic and responsibilities of what defines a patriot Kenya. And there was something that says that obeying the rules of a nation, because if you fail to obey the rule of a country, then you are not patriotic, because you are patriotic when you follow the principles that guide that nation. Therefore, as Kenyans, we must now start cultivating, if we want to achieve this ethos, the culture of obeying the constitution, the culture of obeying our rules that govern this nation. And that is something that we can do so coherently by making sure that we fight corruption, by making sure that we make our voice heard. When you see something going wrong and it's around where you are, you stop them and you tell them, this thing that you're doing is not good for this nation. That thing that you have, these people who take others people's property, like thieves and so on, you tell them, when you see them, maybe you hear them preparing to do that kind of an act, you tell them that is not good, that is not what defines our country, that is not what drives our nation together forward. Therefore, those kind of things, we must now start cultivating that culture of obeying the rules of these countries, so that we have those ethos. And we try to define ethos like something that defines a nation, that makes it have that unique character. Therefore, in this process, we'll have that thing that will hold us together. And the president was proposing to have the 26th of every December, to have a day called, there was a name, he was trying to bring that thing of celebrating our diversity as a nation. Mm-hmm. And I think that is something that I think it must be included in that document, so that in every 26th month of December, after celebrating our Christmas, when people are at their homes, when people are on their vacation, now we can start celebrating our diversity as a nation. We can start seeing what brings us together as a nation. And that responsibility, we can do it by making sure that we pay our taxes. We do that kind of thing that will make this country move forward. We start championing for good governance. We start calling leaders who are not working well into account. That is how this country will start having a character of togetherness, a character of responsibility. And it's also our civic duty to go there and vote. We must be telling these Kenyans, if you fail to vote, then you'll have bad leaders elected. Therefore, let's have that kind of a conversation that will ensure that this country is really taking the right direction, and our responsibilities as Kenyan citizens, our patriotic duty must be held. Let's there stand for our nation. And when you see something bad happening to our nation, then we'll be held accountable, because we'll be knowing that this nation belongs to every one of us, and we have a duty to protect and to make it a better nation. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Ogebe Omot, you're saying hi, Miriam. Please, can you enlighten us what's going on between two sister countries, South Sudan and Uganda, any divorce among themselves at the border, please, well, Ogebe, please tune in at 3 p.m. East African time. I'll be here with the Diaspora Dispatches, and hopefully I can find out what's going on and let you know what's really going on, because that is when we get to look at the news-making headlines across the continent of Africa. But thank you so much for watching nevertheless. I think you're watching us from Germany, if I'm not very long. And Guten Morgen to you. So now, Professor, even as we look at this national ethos and ethos just as a country and why it is important, can we now say, because if you have ethos, then you will not commit corruption, you will not give a bribe, you will not lie, you will throw, the trash where it's supposed to. Like you have some, I don't know, is it the mother, the lack of it, is it the mother of all evils in this country?
Yeah, Miriam, let me just say that you heard me talk about severity and the family severity, that where these things start. Miriam, let me tell you, I am very proud of my mom. And when you see me talk about women, I become my champion, and I'm so much proud. Miriam, you know, I am surviving. I'm facing life challenges over what my mom taught me. She took me to church. I ensured that I become a Christian of good standing. I do what's right in the saddle. I respect people. Even you have said, Miriam, even if you throw the thrust, and I happen to be there, Miriam, as a serious environment, you throw down, I myself, I pick it and I walk with it and I will throw it to the next, and then you keep on wondering, what is this man, a madman or what? Mm-hmm. Yes. When we teach our children, and Miriam, let me tell you that when I teach about the environment and development, you find some people have gone to the supermarket and they have bought yogurt. And the yogurt, for people to buy yogurt, Miriam, these are not ordinary people. These are informed people. You know that. Okay. Then you just drink like that after you are in a car, when you are in the state, and then you throw it. Mm-hmm. If a child has been told in school, you don't, he tells you that. Teacher tells us that you don't do this. So, Miriam, that's why we are on this national ethos to see where did the lane start beating us, Miriam. Mm-hmm. Miriam, to be very honest with you, I love this country. I love Africa. And sometimes when a few occasions I have been able to move from other countries, Miriam, I am from the airport to my hotel. I see how people have organized their countries, Miriam. Miriam, I shed tears and ask myself, what do the policymakers, the ministers who come outside this country, when they come to this country, what do they see? Do they sleep right away from the airport up to their hotel? Mm-hmm. What do they see? Like you talk about Dubai. Dubai is a country in a desert. But Miriam, you see the number of flights each. But you come to our country. The colonial people, the British people, they set aside some land in Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. What have we done to those land? We have already grabbed them. So, Miriam, we can't be able to have those national ethos, Miriam. Wherever I walk out of this country, Miriam, I will always carry this. I am not a Maasai. But wherever I go outside this one, I put this one to identify myself that I'm a Kenyan. Miriam, this is the kind of things that we need to talk about. Mm-hmm. This country cannot be taken forward if we cannot go, Miriam, to teach our young people. Like now we had this, Miriam, you will find young graduates, well educated. They have been employed, Miriam, earning almost 200,000. Eh? But what do you want to do, Miriam? You would want them to live, to drive the best cars, to go and play golf, Miriam, to go and live Runda, go and live in Karen, do this one. This is a process and nobody tells this. And we have had some cases, young people dying and even engaging themselves in corruption. So, Miriam, what we need to do, I am very proud of this, that we must have the ethos, the young people. My mom taught me that when you eat, you wash your dish. I do it up to now. You don't just go and throw it at the sink. So these things, Miriam, is very important if we get BBI right. In fact, we are going to assist our country. We move forward. So, Miriam, we have not moved to the culture, then you can be able to talk about that. But on this is what we need to do, Miriam. We need to work. We need to panel beat. We need to tell that our people that if we need to tell our countries, Miriam, we must work hard. Miriam will always say, for any nation, for any society, we must have progressive young people. We must have progressive media. We must have progressive church leaders, politicians, all of them, name it. That is the way to go, Miriam.
All right, thank you so much, Professor Onyari. Now, as we continue the second part of that, of the national ethos, responsibility and rights, and we're looking at the BBI, the second draft that was presented to President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga and was officially launched last Monday. And the second part there says, stakeholders proposed that in addition to the recommendations made in the task force report, the government should promote Kiswahili, boost the study of local literal works in our educational institutions, support research and written and oral literature, and increase efforts to rally Kenyans to support local industry by purchasing Kenyan-made goods. Daniel.
Yes, thank you, Miriam. I think that is quite a good inculcation into our culture and way as we engage as a people. You remember Professor mentioned about the culture of Buddhist and religion on the impact of young children. And in China, a study was carried out, and they realized that if young children between the age of 5 were taken into a monastery, and the Buddhist doctrines of family, of integrity and respect were inculcated into them from an early age up to maybe, let's say, 15 years. After that, it was noticed that these young men and women will be able to carry those culture for years to come, even into their places of work. And that is how a society of integrity, a society that values family ethos, a society that really is loyal to its state was built in China. So I think also in Kenya, it's something that can be done. We only need to inculcate in our people the spirit of what BBI talks about of Utu. And also, Miriam, when you read the BBI report, you notice that the committee said that for most people, most Kenyans who appeared before the task force, they insisted that the family was the most central and integral part of our nationhood, which really affected on how it really had an impact on how people relate, how people turn out to be in various aspects. And therefore, if we can inculcate some of these values through our family at the family level, and also the church and our schools, I believe we shall be able to achieve quite a lot in terms of being a people of a common identity, being a people who appreciate our diverse cultures, being a people who really take pride in our nationhood. And this has worked in Rwanda. When you look at Rwanda, they have really done that, and at least after every specific period, you'll hear that President Paul Kagame joins fellow Rwandese people to clean the streets of Kigali and other major towns in Rwanda. And also, they have also taken another milestone in really embracing Kiswahili and English, moving away from the traditional French, which used to be the national language. So I think it's quite a good step for Kenya. And probably it's gonna work in a line of enhancing even the East African integration, because you understand that most countries, even in the Southern Africa, have plans of now starting teaching Swahili in their curriculum. So to me, I think once we start embracing our local dialects and being comfortable in our skin and culture, then we build a nation which has a very, very identity background. And that will help more even in advancing the spirits and the whims of patriotism amongst our people.
All right, thank you there. And the last part that I read there, Javen, even as you come in, and increase efforts to rally Kenyans to support local industry in purchasing Kenyan-made goods. There is is it a billboard on when you come to work and on my way home? I see it on my way home. I think they advertise, is it biscuits or cereal, but it's a food product there. And on the side, it's a huge billboard on a main highway. And what they're saying is, after they've put all that this product here has European standards, and that thing offends me to the high heavens, because what are you saying? This product is made in Kenya, but you have to add there in bold and in a very, writing there that is quite attractive to the rest of everybody who might be interested in buying this product, that as much as it is made in Kenya, but it has a European standard. So what are you saying? Made in Kenya is what? And that is the problem we have as Africans. Anything that has been made in this continent, we deem it dark, we deem it substandard, we deem it not good. So for me to buy, or for me to be attracted to whatever it is people are selling, then somebody thinks it's a good idea to put European standards. Javen, this thing offends me every day when I drive by and look at, when we're driving past that, billboard, and the advertising, I don't know, biscuits or something. Yeah. So we can't make biscuits that are Kenyan standard. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that is exactly what you are talking about. When we say that we need to have that kind of a national definition of who we are as a country. Because those people are doing that because they don't love their nation, and they feel like this nation, the things that come from this country, they're substandard, and the people will not buy it if we don't include that bold writing of it is made in European standards, and that is quite unfair. And I think that is one way of killing our patriotism and national ethos, because that in that BBI, they're recommending that we buy products that are made in Kenya. Because when we do that, we'll start having designs that are made from Kenya. We'll start having even our own culture of clothing that you see in Nigeria. When you see people dressing in that kitenge thing, we feel they're from Nigeria with that kind of cap they wear on their head. And sometimes professor come with it in the show, and they look very good, and we feel like they are from Nigeria because they promoted their industry, and they had a definition of their own designs and a kind of fashion. And that is what we mean by having a Kenyan-made things, so that we'll have our own culture of clothing and so on, such that when you go in an outside country, when people see you, they feel like, hey, this man is from Kenya, this guy is from Kenya. And that is what exactly the president is doing when he is promoting the wearing of shirts, and to a point that Kenyans are referring to him as in here we call Wamashati. That means that the president who loves wearing shirts, and that is quite significant, because at the end of the day, Kenyans are starting to appreciate these clothing that are made in Kenya. And when you walk around the towns, you will see people now wearing those shirts, and they look good, they look beautiful, and that is something that we encourage. And that is how we cultivate this culture of having our own definition, because this ethos is having something that defines us as a nation, and that is something that we will quite achieve when we start buying products that are made in Kenya. Mm-hmm. And even not only clothing, even some kind of products like the milk products and so on. Stop having these products that are coming from outside Kenya, and this will grow even our industry and our industrialization. Because at the end of the day, we'll not be having toothpicks coming from China. We're not having those simple things that we can make here in our country coming from outside. This will also be an opportunity for employment for the younger generation. Therefore, I feel it's something that we must champion for it. We must continue communicating to people and advocating for it, so that at the end of the day, we'll have a nation that has its own definition. And we have talked of Kiswahili and are being promoted to higher levels, and that is something quite significant, because at the end of the day, we have our own language as a nation, a language that when you speak even in outside nations, people feel like this guy is from Kenya. And when they promote Kiswahili and these local languages, it will not be a way of dividing Kenyans, but a way of bringing the diversity that we have in our culture, the diversity that we have in our languages. Because when we have that memory and a poem done in Kikuyu, a poem done in Luo, people having this kind of culture exchange forums or conference where we will go there, sit there, enjoy foods made foods that are made in the Luo, Nyanza, foods that are made in Kikuyus. We go there, we eat, we enjoy fish. Like most of us in this region, we don't know much about fish. And if we had that kind of a culture exchange program, we can go in Kisumu or in somewhere else, we eat those fish, they come to us, they eat warus and mokimos. And that is how this bonding will have starting bonding and building a culture of togetherness. And apart from achieving national ethos, we'll bring an end to this ethnic-based kind of politics, and we'll have national unity, and Kenya will be one big nation and one big family that is happy and progressive.
Thank you so much. And our diversity has to be our unity, because Kenya is beautiful because of the different cultures and and languages and all that that we have infused together. It makes up this beautiful country, but unfortunately we use it to divide us. I wish we would understand how much our diversity should be our strength and our unity, and as Javan there has expressed, like we go out there for cultural exchanges. You leave your country, you go out there, and yet you live with other tribes here. For us, we have 42 plus tribes, and there are people who are so ignorant, they don't even know what the other tribe, they don't even appreciate the other person's culture and tribe and the different ethnic groups that we have in the country. But you go for a cultural exchange in China. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but charity begins at home. Yes, all right. Yes, Daniel, you want to add something?
Maybe just to add the icing on the cake on what Karanja said and the topic you've been talking about our products here in Kenya. And I think I tend not to be of a simplistic line of thought, but rather holistic. And when I look at that, perhaps the information on that billboard, it really tells you also something about the side of the producers, we are manufacturers here in Kenya. And for the record, let me state that we do have a lot of brands which are manufactured and processed in Kenya. They are exported all the way to Europe for consumption, especially horticultural and agricultural produce, which is has a very big market in Europe. And that tells you that perhaps our manufacturing and food processing industry is a bit creaky and has a lot of leakages which need to be sealed. And maybe also perhaps on the other end, it tells you that the European countries, the European Union, the economic bloc, doesn't compromise on quality and the standards. And that is what we should also promote here back at home. We should make industries that are very closely knit, are well supported and regulated, in that we don't have contraband or substandard goods also sneaking into the market. So to me, I feel that perhaps those are some of the issues that also the BBI report is going to address in terms of increasing the consumer confidence on locally manufactured goods and products. As Javan Karanja says, you see President Uhuru Kenyatta for the better part of this year has been adorning in our African dashiki shirts, which is something good. And even he went ahead and encouraged other senior civil servants to follow suit. And when you hear, you read the BBI report somewhere ahead, we shall find also that being talked about as part of embracing our own culture and diversity as a people. So those are very pivotal issues that also need to be checked from our end.
All right. Thank you so much. Yeah, European standards, and it's biscuits. Get out of here with that. Now, yes.
Look at the Chinese. Which language do they speak?
Mandarin.
They are not bothered with English or French or anything they speak on that one. When you go to Europe, you know they speak so many languages. I hope you have gone to an international meeting and you will see the number of translators who are there. The language medium unites people. And that's why I always say that the continent of Africa, you heard me say the other day, it is unfortunate that we are Africans. We are Africans. Our brothers from French-speaking countries, and we are from Anglophone-speaking countries, medium, when we go outside there, they find themselves that they are so much close to France than close to a Kenyan from someone from Cameroon here. So Miriam, the day Africa, I don't mind which language they will pick, whether they will be Hausa, Kiswahili, name it. But as African people, the day we will speak one language, you will see what will happen in this continent. We will have unity. We will be able to to come together as a people. So that's why, Miriam, we are trying to say now, international ethos. Yes, Kiswahili is our national language, but we want to make it now that we teach it in school that everybody knows. And it is a language of communication, Miriam. And you used to talk about that. We say that these goods are made in Europe, or they are made somewhere meets European standards, Miriam. It is because of standards. If you see, like now, you are buying a tap. If you buy one from the British beggar, you know you have bought of standards. So, Miriam, by Kenyans, if we maintain standards, nobody will just come for it. Miriam, like now, the long distance races in the field, Miriam, who doesn't know Kenya? They will say that one is for Kenya. The people who can rival us will be Ethiopians or Ugandans who have got, again, connection with Kenyans. They can either Pokotis of Kenya or Pokotis of Kenya. So, Miriam, this buy Kenyan, build Kenya, if we maintain standards, you know, some of the goods which come from China to Kenya, they cannot go to the European market or an American market. You know very well.
Yes, yes.
So, Miriam, if we go this one and we identify ourselves, there's a day, Miriam, we will be identified. That if you want big five of the animals, where do you go? You come to Kenya. You will be able to see a giraffe, an elephant, a lion, cheetah, buffalo. You will be able to see all these big five. This is what we want to do. If we have to build the Kenyans, we must be people of standards.
Okay. Very well said there. And so the third part of the national ethos, responsibility and rights says, the proposal to transfer ethics, cohesion, and integration mandates to a new commission was supported by stakeholders. I don't know about a new commission, but stakeholders also agreed to address concerns regarding indiscipline of children, breakdown of marriages, and general erosion of cultural values in today's society by mainstreaming ethics, training, and awareness in mentoring and counseling sessions in religious activities. And through community outreach programs, they stressed the importance of integrating ethics and responsibilities as part of the school curriculum. Daniel.
Yes, thank you, Miriam. I think that is the language now we should be speaking about. As you remember, I mentioned earlier on that is the methodology that was used in China to inculcate values amongst young people for a responsible future generation. And I believe if we can do that through the school, through the family unit, through the church, and through community lobby groups, which are there to educate our young people on values, on respect, on embracing those family values and ethos. I believe as a nation, then we are building a future country which is quite built on people of morality, people who highly regard their family backgrounds, people who regard the leadership of the day, and people who take pride on the country that they are building to prosperity. So I think they are good basic values, and through the BBI report, if such can be implemented and impacted to our young people, then undoubtedly Kenya is going to have a very, very progressive and bright future in the days to come, of course, once these values take roots amongst the citizenry. So it's a good thing to say, Miriam.
Thank you, Javan. Do you think putting this in our school curriculum, this will start inculcating some of these things early in our young people, in our children growing up?
Yeah,
will this be effective?
From those. I think they should start from those formative years when people are in nursery school, in the primary school, so that as they grow on, they start understanding the ethics and these kind of things, so that when they grow, they will be responsible citizens. And I think it's something that must be continued even at high school and in the university and colleges. They must be made a mandatory unit that when you go to these schools or institutions, you have that unit of ethics and responsibilities and ethos of a country called Kenya. That's something that will cultivate this culture. Also through the community policing, that's something that will work effectively, because Now the leaders of the society in these lower levels, units of leadership, like the locations and the sub-chiefs, will be able to communicate to their subjects the importance of having these ethics. And also they must do it through our media. I think, Miriam, you'll agree with me that our media has been saturated with the informations that are not helping to grow our unity. The kind of music that we play here, we need even to start playing Kenyan content. And I was proud when I saw some musicians coming together, advocating for listening for the music from Kenya. And I think it's something that we must encourage. We can't fight them. The best we can do is to encourage them to do more good music, so that at the end of the day, the people from outside Kenya will have something to define Kenyans when it comes to matter music. We know the kind of Jerusalem that everybody is dancing to. It's from Nigeria, and I used to see these people. They have dominated our country in matters music. We listen to music from Tanzania and Nigeria. And I want to encourage our Kenyan musicians to make good music. Not that you must talk bad things in your music that it will sell. Talk some things, talk some sense, and the people start appreciating that kind of information. I think the media plays a very big role in ensuring that these kind of things are meant. And if they continue doing that, we'll have that culture. And there was something else that professors talked about, of our athletics in this nation. I think that is something that the government must work on, because that is something that has given us a global kind of status, and that thing must be worked for in schools. All kids that have a talent in athletics and so on, they must be encouraged so that they can continue keeping our flag up there, so that people will have something to define us. I know people know Kenya because of its wildlife and because of its athletics. And when you go to some of these nations, people start asking whether you know Kipchoge and so on. They even have some streets named after these great heroes of Kenya. Therefore, this is something that will bring us together. And when I was in Eldoret, and when Kipchoge was learning the Ethos challenge, and people came in streets, and you could see people from all the country, from all corners of this nation. When we were there watching Kipchoge running, nobody was speaking where you come from, where you do, we were talking as a nation. That guy is from Kenya, and we were very proud of him, and you could see the unity of purpose. And when people go out there, they are speaking the language of unity, they are speaking the language of Kenya, and that is something that we must do. And something else, I think they must ban politicians who use ethnic as a division, as a tool. They must be banned from running for political offices, so that we have people who cultivate the culture of unity as our leaders.
Thank you so much. Yes, when we're having our athletes out there doing us proud, we don't even think about what tribe is that. I mean, who is that? They're Kenyans, and at that moment we are all Kenyans, and we support them until politics happens, and then we go back to our ethnic cocoons, which is so sad. So true. Chevan, one of the proposals there that you just made, that perhaps some of the political leaders who encourage this kind of bad ethnic antagonism, these are the people who the law should deal with. And we need to put perhaps laws in place that are quite punitive when it comes to, people who are out there spewing hate, spewing hatred and division. And so the law is able to deal with them very, very harshly, so that our leaders may understand, the responsibility they have as even they lead Kenyans. So, last part of that, Dr. Professor, as you come in. I want you to come in. But before you come in, let me just add the last part of the national ethos, responsibility and rights. That says, on responsibilities and rights, submissions revealed that stakeholders perceived a more significant role for parents or guardians, teachers, the clergy, the media, elders and political leaders, but especially for the media. Now you can come in.
Thank you, Miriam, for that. And you have seen how they have started the role of the parents, guardians. Those are the primary. Before you hand them to the church, to the teachers, to the media, to the elders, and the political class. Miriam, do you know what the young people undergo? Do you know? We have had cases of even a 6-year-old kid committing suicide. And you wonder what has gone wrong? Because, Miriam, we don't engage. We don't talk to these children. And Miriam, the fact you will see that the stakeholders, the Kenyans, are giving recommendation that it should be taught in schools. Miriam, you can agree there is a breakdown of a family. And everything starts with the family. And Miriam, you can agree, when we have wrong holiday, when we used to have it in November, December, you will hear parents complain. Even this time for the coronavirus pandemic, there are some parents who complain, you know very well. So, Miriam, my fellow Kenyans, parents should be able to spend more time with their children, is when you can be able to understand. Miriam, you know very well, as we speak, more than 36,000 school-going children, school-going girls are pregnant, are going to become mothers, becoming mothers to children. And you got to, there's something which has gone wrong, Miriam, and which you are not doing as a family. And on this, Miriam, unless we get it right from the family, a teacher cannot do. Like when it comes about ethics. Yes, we can go. I'm expecting that we start from the family, we continue it at school. But the fact, you see, when you go to the thinking of some of these stakeholders who are giving their views, they are running away from responsibilities. The responsibility of us as parents is to bring our children morally and ethically. And even when it comes, Miriam, to integrity, which is in chapter 6 of our Constitution, why must we teach integrity? It is something which will be taught in the home. This is right, respect this. So, Miriam, the family becomes very key. We have had some cases where parents have gone into depressions, even children, because they lack even counseling to the person who talks to. So when we make our children our friends, they will be able to tell us what they undergo. There was a clip which was going around of a parent who the son committed suicide. And the parent will see all the indicators, this child is withdrawing, the son is withdrawing, and they cannot be able to help the child. So Miriam, if BBI is addressing this, so that they can be counseling even in school, even some of these children will know that when you have got an issue like this, you talk to your parents, it will be serious, Miriam. You know how the young people are so much involved into drugs. And even if your children, talk to them, if they want to take those drugs, even the smoke, tell them you smoke here in the city. Why are you hiding? The fact that you are hiding, there's something you are hiding. So what I'm trying to say, Miriam, the fact that we can be able to engage our children. I used to be a PTA person, the PTA and the Board of Management represented in one of the schools, and I will be able to attend some of the disciplinary cases. One of the issues, Miriam, I can tell you for a fact, that these are our children, they don't know someone whom they can talk to. Neither teachers are they doing it, neither parents are doing it. So children are on their own. They are learning from their peers, and this is what becomes a problem. So if BBI is coming to their working us, guys, parents, there's something we are not be able to do, and we come and do it, it is going to help this nation. Because even children, they will be able to know that if I have this, I have to talk to my parent, I have to talk to the teacher, I have to talk to the pastor, I have to talk to everybody else. All of us, Miriam, as a team, we will achieve more. Together, each achieves more in bringing of our children. So let us, Kenyan as people, through BBI, compose a team on how to bring our children.
All right, and Gebe, you're saying that's our big problem. We don't believe in ourselves as Africa, who potential knowledge, even those products we are taking about are all from Africa, which is the West worlds are stolen from Africa. And we must stop believing on white people ideology to trust ourselves, so we produce our own. And this is coming from an Africa there in Germany. Thank you, Gebe. Thank you for that. Thank you so much. So now let's look at our second part of the BBI, and that is the ethnic antagonism and competition. So hapa ndo kuna shida sasa. Because the ethos has a problem, so now this is part of the problem from the lack of ethos. Now, in the task force report, it was noted that ethnic antagonism and competition are a major threat to Kenya's success. To strengthen social ties and promote unity among all the communities, stakeholders recommended that the Ministry of Education, through the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, review the curricula to integrate teaching of national unity, character, and cohesion on learners during the early years. They also recommended the review of policies in the education sector to promote social integration, especially in regards to admission to schools and institutions of higher learning. And it's quite interesting how a lot of these very important things, the task force, gathered from Kenyans, the importance of perhaps the role the school plays in our children. I wonder why there's so much emphasis put in our education curriculum. Is it because a lot of these things, professors, you mentioned there, like they should be basic things that are taught at home, meaning at home we have absconded our duties as parents? That could be one. Or two, the things we are teaching our children at home is not right. So now to salvage the situation, the school has to come in and ensure that we counter the negative ideas that our children hear us talking on the dining tables when we're eating. You talk about other tribes, you don't even think about your child is there and is speaking this negative, things that you're speaking, and they'll go out there and leave these things and continue, without even them knowing. So they're seeing the family unit is not doing quite a good job in integrating and instilling some of these important, things in our children. So now the government, or these views that were given by Kenyans, or the proposals here on the BBI, are quite intentional on using the school to integrate some of these important things in our children and inculcate some of these important things. So they're saying the proposals that the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development review the curricula to integrate teaching of national unity, character, and cohesion on learners during their early years. And down there it says, on teacher recruitment, the ministry should adopt policy guidelines that discourage local recruitment and staffing of teachers depending on the circumstances. Stakeholders further said that programs should be put in place for cultural exchange and integration between different schools. Karanja. All right, Daniel.
Yes, thank you, Miriam. And of course, I've listened to what Professor said, and there's nothing further from the truth there, that the family unit in Kenya has really failed and really not has absconded, rather, to take its part in ensuring that we raise a very, very responsible society, a society which is much alive our national values and is so much aligned to talk and a language of progress for the country. And there has been a notion, whether right or wrong, that children at school will respect their teachers and their church leaders more than the parents. And whenever these two group of fraternity tell them to, or give them guidance for a certain cause, they'll duly obey it more than they do to their own parents. So that tells you that there has been a moral breakdown through the subsequent generations of Kenyans that we've had since independence. And therefore, that gives you the clear picture why the BBI had to reinforce this through not only our family units, but also through our curriculum structure. And number two, talking about the issue now of ethnic divisions and tensions. Also, I believe now that has to come in on matters of our own national morality, because you understand that a country like Tanzania, Jevan in the morning said that Tanzanians have been quite perhaps taciturn and quite slow on reacting to the elections which were perceived to be fraudulent, because during their independence, when they were building a nation after the colonialism, they built a nation based on ujamaa, a very goodwill notion towards your neighbor, working together and really seeing the next person as a brother and as a sister, and as a family person. So to me, I think that has to do with the way we raised as Kenyans, being told that perhaps someone, Professor Nyari from this particular ethnic group, he has this particular trait which is not good. We have another community here, and as in telling our young people all the bad things and hatred, teaching them hatred instead of love from a very early age. And another contributor also is the notion of the winner takes it all, and that has been quite well elaborated in the BBI report, in that whenever you go to the election and someone from a different ethnic community with the backing of other ethnic groups takes the presidency, there's a certain ethnic communities that feel that they have been left out of leadership because they perceive it as a robbery of their leadership and resources, and they believe that they will not be equally treated by the government of the day. So that is a notion that we need to work on, and I believe also structures under the recommendations that have been put there in the BBI report, we shall be able to wholesomely engage the people and be able to bring on board these measures that ensures that we inculcate amongst our people the spirit of love, the spirit of unity, the spirit of a peaceful coexistence, and also not only to do that, but also ensure that they feel involved in the leadership of the day. They feel they share the prosperity of this country, and their voices and their grievances are addressed by the government of the day through an inclusive leadership. That is the only way we shall be able to solve that grievous question of divisive elections and ethnic animosity that happens every election year.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of which,
thank you.
Speaking of which, yes, Karanja, you want to come in on that?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, and I want to say this, and this was about the ethnic antagonism and competition.
Yes.
And I think as a nation, we should not even have a competition based in ethnic-based kind of agenda. That is something that we must refrain ourselves into. And I agree with what the recommenders that report said, that people should be taught importance of national unity, character, and the cohesiveness. Cohesiveness is living together as brother and sister without looking at their color, without looking at their tribe and where they come from. Therefore, that is something that the children in our schools must be taught, so that at the early age, as they grow, they will have that culture in their minds, and also as they continue in the higher education. And that's something that is very important. And I think the roles here, the back starts with the parents, because the children inherit bad manners from their homes and they bring it to other children in the school. And if all the children have good manners in their homes and they are taught the key principles of togetherness and unity and of togetherness, then when they go to school, that is the message they will preach. And the teachers will start from there. And when they go to church, the message would be the same. At the end of the day, we'll have a society where we will stop looking at other Kenyans in tribal basis, but we'll start looking at them as our fellow Kenyans. And I think even we should refrain. And I think if it is possible, we need also to have a controlled kind of a media where these local language stations, the local radio stations that speak our vernacular radio stations, we should have a control over it, because to some extent, I feel like these media stations, especially the vernacular ones, they are promoting a culture of exclusivity, where people now they don't listen to any other radio station. And when you go to them, I happen to listen to some of them, and as quite a message, you'll hear them trying to define that tribe as a supreme tribe, as we are the best than others. The kind of leaders that they invite in their morning forums, they are leaders who start propagating the inclusivity of a tribe, not the inclusivity of a nation. Therefore, that is something else that we must look into going forward, because the media is the mirror of our society. Therefore, let me submit on that issue. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And you've brought up a very important point, and I know I wanted us to go to the next point there on the ethnic antagonism and competition, but I can't let that slide because I think it's very important. Professor, growing up, we only had KBC and a few other, but KBC especially when it comes to radio. But now with the growth of a lot of vernacular radio station, this is when we've seen, if we've been keen and see after, President Mwai Kibaki came into power. I don't know, it's just about that time or just a few years before that, that we saw the growth of the vernacular radio stations or FMs, which is a good thing. The media in Kenya is vibrant and is growing. But it is through that, or since the growth of this, or introduction of so many of them, that we've seen this ethnicity, tensions go up, and Javen has rightly put it there. So with our development in the media and the growth in the media in Kenya, is it now acting as our downfall, especially the vernacular, the vernacular stations, because this is a concern, Professor.
Miriam, that's true. That's true. You were born Aluo. I was born a Kisi. Karanja was born a Kikuyu, and Daniel was born a Luya. And we have never had any issue. We have never. I want to tell you, if we go that way, Miriam, 4 pride men were describing how an elephant looks like. There is one who took the task, and then he said that an elephant is a dry good. There's a one who took the stomach, and they said an elephant is a bee war. And then this one who got the feet, and they say that the elephant is a trunk of what? It's like a trunk of a tree. And another one got the ears, and they said, oh, it is like a dry skin. Dry skin. What am I trying to say, Miriam? If you want to focus your language, your ethnic background, your language, your culture, and there is no culture which is superior over the other. Culture is there for diversity and harmony. And the languages where they came from, the Papal, Miriam, these languages are there for purposes of our salvation, and we make them as free as human beings. Why am I saying so? The people who have got bad manners, Miriam, and they need to be we need to talk them straight to their faces and tell them you should be able to stop this. It is the political class. Miriam, we go to church, the same people. We enter the supermarket, the same people. We go, we board the buses, the vehicle, the matatus, the same people. Miriam, Mambogas, they are selling the same people. But when it comes to politics, that's when someone now tells you are a Luo, then you are a Kisi, you are what? There was this person who was engaging me, and then I was asking him, you are having a privilege that you can talk to me. We can have a conversation, we can eat together. This William or who you are talking to me about, will he ever call you? Has he ever called you? Will he ever talk to you? So Miriam, in this ethnic antagonism, and that's when you go downwards, that's why we want to have stiff measures. That any politician who can use his tribe to antagonize others or to promote his political agenda should either be disqualified. We must have stiff penalties, Miriam. Miriam, I come from this land crisis has ever happened, Miriam. I have never had an issue with my neighbor. And even now, they can even tell you they cannot be able to understand. So Miriam, on this section, Miriam, it is particular is particular for the political class. And the way Kenya is structured, Miriam, 2 major tribes can come together, Miriam, they can take everything, and others can be able to watch. We were able to see 2013, 2017, when Jubilee took over. The 2 communities in this tribe, say from one part, and I don't want to mention who was able to think that the Kisis are there, the Ruos will be there, the Ruyas will be there, someone will be there, and it was able to, the number it was bringing to the cabinet. He was trying to have the map of Kenya. But there is one individual, Miriam. What he decided is to go and bring people from his ethnic group. This is how you antagonize people, Miriam. And Miriam, I am proceeding to say, there is audit which has been done, people holding senior positions in government, Two major communities in the country are having 35 and 37. Miriam, you cannot do that. This one, you are antagonizing other people. They feel they are not Kenyans, and this is how we want to address. Daniel keeps on talking about Singapore. There is no way, Miriam, and we cannot assume that the Kikuyus, their population in this country is large. So, Miriam, we must be able to, whatever we do, we must give them their quota. You cannot go and, there are some people in this country, some communities, Miriam, you can just go and employ them as serious, and you finish them, and you even want to look for more. So, Miriam, we need to have a conversation. How do we just move together so that you don't use this? Miriam, just go where you stay, and you see the children, when they are playing games. You normally see them, they are saying, these are Kisi, these are what, these are what. So care. The people who have got bad manners, Miriam, is the political class, not even the rest of Kenyans. And we must be able to address this once and for all, that you don't use your community. And that's why sometimes I agree with President Mwai Kibaki. When he came to power, he knew on how he was fixing this one. He was not seeing you as coming as a Kikuyu. He used to see you as a professional. And all the people President Kibaki gave work, Miriam, they performed for the good of Kenya. I don't mind you having all this. Are they giving us services so that we don't complain, Miriam? But here are people giving their people, you take them tender, you do corruption, you do that. This is where it goes well. It goes wrong, Miriam. This is how, this one, Miriam, we are addressing the political class. They have been using their ethnic to antagonize people. Miriam, there are some people whom I know, where Moi left them, from other ethnic communities. And I like using from people from the mountain. Miriam, you can see where Moi left them, where Kibaki left them, where they are still the same people. So, Miriam, they have not gained simply because President Mwai Kibaki was a president or Uhuru Kenyatta is a president. What we need to know, Miriam, our challenges. What are our struggles? Can we feed people food on the table? Can we afford medical bills? Can we take our children to school? How can we improve agriculture? This is what is disturbing Kenyans. I submit, Miriam.
And not just take our children to school, but have quality education in those public schools. I also
That's right.
That is very important. That is very important. Yeah. So as we conclude, let me just read the last part of the ethnic antagonism and competition there. Then Daniel, you will come in. So during validation, Kenyans called for urgent reform of the electoral system to make the executive structure more inclusive and end ethnic violence caused by the winner-take-all system. Some stakeholders agree with the task force report that the mandate of cohesion and integration should be undertaken by the proposed Ethics and Integrity Commission, while others felt the role could be effectively undertaken by the National Cohesion and Integration Commission. They said the commission should be mandated to carry out diversity and ethnic audits in the various institutions within the public sector in Kenya to correct regional and ethnic imbalances to meet constitutional requirements. So, Professor, you brought that up. And then stakeholders wanted serious action to be taken against hate speech, particularly in the context of political campaigns, and they identified as the major driver of division. And I think already we said that. Now, other recommendations on ethnic antagonism include criminalizing hate speech and the use of violence, especially prior to, during, and after elections. Kenyans further recommended the implementation of past commissions and task force reports, including Truth, Justice and Reconciliation Commission TJC report, and the need to address historical injustices and land reforms once and for all. And these land reforms, I think that is also another murky issue that we may not even have time to look at here today. But a couple of things have come up, Professor, and you mentioned them. So let's just go there to Daniel, from what I've read here on the last part of the ethnic and antagonism and competition. And for our viewers, in case you're wondering where I'm reading from, I have to remind us, this is the abridged report of the steering committee of the building on the implementation of the Building Bridges to a United Kenya task force report. In short, this is the short version of the BBI report. If you've been watching, for those who are watching us from outside the country, and I see a lot of our viewers there, then you know this is a conversation, a national conversation that is very important for Kenya, and we're in the process of a possible constitutional change here, because a couple of these things that have been suggested might mean we go for a referendum. So that's why it's important for us to have this conversation. In case you're wondering why every time you tune in we're just talking about BBI, because this is a very important national conversation, so bear with us, and maybe even a few countries in Africa could learn and benefit from this conversation. But from what I've read here, Daniel, what stood out for you here? The winner takes all, and a system that has become a problem in our politics and our whole electoral process.
As I have time and again reiterated, is that the BBI is undoubtedly the most progressive document that we've ever had since independence. And when you look at the issue of inclusivity, it strives to bring on board the position of the Prime Minister, 2 deputies, as well as also creating the position of the leader of opposition, who will be sitting in parliament together with the shadow government. And this leader of opposition will be fully be funded, and structures be put in place for them to operate quite seamlessly by the state. So that tells you that when you go to an election as an individual, as a Kenyan, to cast your ballot, you know that perhaps you might, your leader might get into the presidency, or perhaps if he does not make it to the presidency, you'll have another leader who will be a prime minister. If that one does not make it to that position, then we still have 2 slots in the 2 deputy prime ministers. Also, besides that, we do have another position of the leader of the opposition, who shall be sitting in parliament together with his shadow cabinet. So it tells you that if after you elect a leader and by bad luck they don't make it to form the government, then perhaps they'll be there in parliament to advocate for your issues, to really spearhead the agenda that you believed in within the precincts of parliament, not like the current dispensation where we have a leader of opposition without any office in place. And I think that is something good about the BBI report, and it will ensure that we do away with the divisive notion of the winner takes it all, which has always thrown us into quite a mayhem and a situation of ethnic tension that we've just talked about. And when you look at the issue of expanded executive, this is one of the key issues in the BBI, which has been supported by the president, of course, and the former prime minister. And we even saw the deputy president, while giving an address in Britain at Chatham House, he said that expanded executive will be a very quintessential solution to the divisive winner takes it all elections in Kenya. So I don't expect the deputy president and his allies or any other political leader who has been in this country since 1992 to go against that particular suggestion which has been brought by the BBI, because that has been the bone of contention. Whenever we go to the election, you feel that once the presidency is gone, all is lost for you as a voter. So with expanded executive, we shall make sure that we accommodate each and every one of us, and also through making sure that the official opposition leader has a place in the government of the day through his position in government, and also a provision of the shadow cabinet. We shall have a voice for each and every one of us, other than which is a very sharp departure from the previous dispensation, where once you lose an election, you are thrown into the murky streets, and your followers now start to struggle to benefit from the government of the day. So I think, Miriam, this is a very, very progressive article of the BBI, and we need to embrace it, and leaders should strongly rally behind it. And as I said, the deputy president already endorsed that, and we have a clip for that record where he said that expanded executive was good for this country. And therefore, we also joined the deputy president to support whatever suggestions that have been brought through the BBI, which is a brainchild of the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, together with President Uhuru Kenyatta. And Kenya will be able to surge forward as a united nation, a nation whose citizens are very proud of and have quite a lot of confidence in the leadership of the day and our electoral system at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So Karanja, as I've read that part of the ethnic antagonism and competition, and a few things stood out there, and that is our electoral commission, our electoral system, so that the winner-take-all system can be fixed, and also seeks to correct regional and ethnic imbalances to meet the constitutional requirements. As Professor there, said earlier, a lot of these, even especially government jobs, they, we see the statistics, and so they seek to have to correct that, and also to bring ethnic balances across our country, but also. The last part there caught me, and I think we already have a commission in place for this, but I don't know if they're even effective at all, or we need to review that commission. On the last part, other recommendations on ethnic antagonism include criminalizing hate speech and use of violence, especially prior to, during, and after elections. The hate speech, I think we have a commission for that, but they've not been very hands-on. I don't know what has been happening, but what stood out for you on that section?
Yeah, thank you, and I agree that we need to have a country that is united and that is not an ethnically founded nation. And that's in that point, something that have stood out for me, I think, is almost all the points. And in that thing of regional balancing in the public service and employment is something that we must work for, because when you go even to our institutions of higher learning, you'll see that the whole management of an institution comes from one particular tribe, and that is something that is not good, because at the end of the day, those people who comes from a different tribe, they feel disadvantaged. They feel like we are not being given a priority, because everybody that we speak to, when they speak in their mother tongue, nobody of us understands what they are saying, and that is something that we must avoid going forward. And not only in the institution of higher learning, even in the recruitment of officers like the police, I think the police should not be, and the teachers, they should not be working where they were born. They should not be working from their regions. Let them go for a different region so that they can integrate the students there. They can see a different teacher from a different background, from a different tribe, and they will start appreciating that kind of an agenda that will ensure that we are all included. And that in the matter inclusivity, I think that recommendation was superb when they talk of having an electoral commission that will ensure that we have an all-inclusive government where nobody will feel out of government. And this is how it will work. If we go for an election, and we know in this country, the big tribes, the big 5 tribes, or the 4 tribes, or 3, they have been ganging around and forming those forces to take power. And they take power in basics of their tribal numbers. They marshal around the tribe's numbers. And that is something that we must refrain from, because at the end of the day, when they get power, they are not elected to serve those tribes. They are elected to serve the whole country as Mount Kenya region. The president happens to come from this region, but he will not give us a priority in matters of national and state development. We will take them to all this country because he is a president of all the country. And that is something that all Kenyans must understand. If a president comes from Western, it's not the people of Western who will benefit because they have a president. In fact, it's the people of all the country that are supposed to benefit. And that is how it works. Therefore, this kind and having a good electoral commission will ensure that we have a free and fair election where the winner will be the actual winner. And that will reflect the will of the Kenyans. And we are talking, and Wesonga was explaining something about the expanded executive. I don't feel, and I don't see a scenario whereby all the 5 big senior positions of the president, the vice president, the 2 deputy prime minister, and the prime minister, 5 positions coming from same tribe. That is something that will not happen. I know all of those positions will be held by people from different ethnic background. And that will show a kind of a feeling that, oh, we are included in the government, because at the end of the day, we'll have a Kisii as the deputy prime minister, we'll have a Masai as the prime minister, and that will see these people having like, oh, we are all and part of Kenya. This country does not belong to these tribes that have been in power for the longest time. And this feeling will bring kind of inclusivity, because at the end of the day, they feel like, because we are part of Kenya, now the best we can do is to integrate with others so that we continue rejuvenating and reviving this spirit of togetherness. At the end of the day, we'll have these people from Northeastern as the prime minister and so on, and this will encourage our growth and prosperity. And then there's the office of the official opposition leader, and this will ensure that those people who lose in an election, they don't go out there to bastardize the government of the day, but they will carry out their roles of oversight in a particular office where they get some allowances. And this will make sure that those people who have supported him will not feel neglected. They will not feel like they're out of government, that they feel like we are part of the government, only that we have a different role to oversight, to act as the government in waiting, to see where the government is doing wrong, to act as the watchdog of the community. And that will work effectively, because they feel like we still have a chance to continue leading this country from a different perspective. And they will wait. They will be able to wait for another 5 years to go for an election. And that is something that is quite significant for our nation. And finally, they have talked of criminalizing of hate speech. And that is something that what we have currently, the NCIC that we have currently, is a sleeping giant that is not doing anything when it comes to matter hate speech. And when this BBI talks of criminalizing and making them look criminals, because for real they are criminals, and they should be criminalized heavily, they should serve jail sentences, they should be refrained from even coming to seek for public offices. This will ensure that we have leaders who will be patriotic, leaders who are not tribal, leaders who will not march around ethnic background, but leaders who will sell a manifesto to people of Kenya. We need to go to a point whereby when you seek a public office, you not start to tell Kenyans that I come from I'm a Kikuyu, but you tell Kenyans, this is my manifesto, this is what I do for this nation. If you elect me, I will do this and that. I will do this not because I'm a hustler, not because I'm a dynasty, but I want to help this country. Now we'll change the conversation. People start having concrete manifestos, concrete agendas to make this country move forward. And that is something that I really support BBI on it. Thank you, Miriam.
All right, and that is how we come to the end of our show today. That was Javan Karanja from Nanyuki. Javan, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, and also we have Daniel Wesonga from Nairobi. Daniel, thank you. All right.
Miriam and the fellow panelists working the show, and also our viewers who've been tuning in since early morning at 9 a.m.
All right, thank you so much. And Professor Jared Onyari. Professor, thank you so much. And I see you have a flu. We wish you a very quick recovery, and please get some hot water there with some lemon and honey. It will do you some good, and some medication, of course. But thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. All right, thank you so much. And of course, we've been looking at the BBI point by point, and we started with the first item there on the BBI, that is the national ethos, responsibility and rights, and we ended with looking at ethnic antagonism and competition and what the BBI proposes. Tomorrow, if at all we shall, then the next time we shall look at inclusivity. And under inclusivity, we have a lot of things that the BBI seek to address. And the first is the marginalized, the underserved, and the poor. The second is historically marginalized and communities. I love the way they're very particular. And on the third one is the underserved and the poor. The other ones are people living with disabilities. The other point is the youth. And then women and girls, the elderly, public participation, employment in the public service, and mental health. And all this is under inclusivity. So this will be a great conversation for next time. So you see, BBI is not just about positions, political positions, or expanding the executive alone. There are other issues that are important that the BBI has touched on, and that is why we thought it is important for us to come here and let you know what else is in the BBI outside of the expanded executive or outside of the noise from the political class. This has been the People's Court. I am Miriam Mugutu. Thank you for watching, and thank you the panelists, and on behalf of Punchline Africa TV, thank you for watching, and bye-bye for now.
Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.